Arthur was taken to Bangkok. A long-haired, sexy Thai woman gave him a thorough full-body inspection, then led him to a seat. But the moment he sat down, a remote-controlled bomb hidden under the chair activated. If he made even the smallest movement, he would be blown to pieces. At that moment, his childhood friend, now his enemy, Clay, finally appeared. Clay didn't waste time talking. He gave Arthur his conditions. Arthur had to kill 3 people. If he completed the missions immediately, Clay promised to let him live. The first target was Africa's most dangerous arms dealer. To protect himself, the man had locked himself inside a prison built on a cliff on a remote island. Sharks surrounded the waters, making it impossible for enemies to get close. Clay wanted Arthur to infiltrate the prison and eliminate the target, and most importantly, make it look like a suicide. That was exactly what Arthur specialized in. Before the mission began, the methodical Arthur made detailed preparations. He tattooed his face to disguise himself as a wanted criminal. He bought shark-repellent chemicals from a shop, then he disguised C4 explosives as chewing gum and carried them with him. After everything was ready, Arthur deliberately got drunk and caused trouble on the street to provoke the police. When officers discovered he matched a wanted suspect, they immediately arrested him. Even though he didn't look exactly like the photo, local police weren't great at telling foreign faces apart. After confirming the tattoos, they shipped him off with other prisoners on a speedboat to the island prison. During the intake search, guards confiscated his lighter but returned the rest of his belongings. Arthur finally saw the arms dealer, who was always surrounded by heavily armed bodyguards. Even so, many inmates were eager to take him out. Arthur noticed a long-haired man acting suspiciously. He also saw a fat inmate secretly buying a knife. At lunchtime, Arthur deliberately bumped into the fat man, who instinctively pulled out the hidden blade. Later that afternoon, the long-haired man finally made his move. He removed his fake arm, revealing a hidden dagger inside, and rushed toward the arms dealer. Arthur seized the opportunity and threw the knife. It flew straight into the attacker's chest. The arms dealer's men panicked and grabbed Arthur. But when they saw the dead assassin on the floor, they realized Arthur had just saved their boss's life. Impressed by Arthur's skills, the arms dealer invited him to dinner. Arthur said he didn't like crowds. Flattered, the arms dealer agreed to dine alone with him. Inside the private cell, the arms dealer bragged about surviving countless assassination attempts, unaware his time was up. Arthur suddenly grabbed him from behind and slammed him against the window. To prevent noise, he stuffed cloth into the man's mouth. Moments later, the arms dealer lost consciousness. Arthur mixed several of the drugs the man regularly used and forced the mixture down his throat. The arms dealer began convulsing, foaming at the mouth, and soon died. When guards heard movement and entered the room, they saw the arms dealer sitting peacefully in prayer. In reality, he was already dead. With the mission complete, Arthur went to the prison yard and planted the C4 explosives onto the wall. He sparked the detonator using a cigarette lighter and activated Clay's signal device. As guards ran toward him, Arthur removed his clothes and activated his shark repellent. A massive explosion blasted a hole in the prison wall. Arthur jumped through and dove straight into the ocean. Protected by the chemicals, he swam past the sharks without trouble. Nearby, a fishing boat was pulling in its nets, but strangely, no one was inside them. When the captain turned around, Arthur was already standing behind him. Arthur contacted Clay by video call to prove he was still alive. Clay immediately revealed the second target. This time, it was a mining tycoon living in Sydney, Australia. The man lived at the top of a 100-story skyscraper, guarded by heavy security. On the rooftop was a suspended swimming pool made of ultra-thick reinforced glass and steel doors over 2 meters thick, making frontal entry impossible. Once again, Arthur began meticulous preparations. He posed as a wealthy buyer and toured apartments with a real estate agent. While she answered a phone call, Arthur secretly copied the room key. He mapped out the assassination route and created a special chemical gel capable of shattering reinforced glass within 15 seconds. Disguised as a maintenance worker, Arthur entered the building. He used the copied key to access the middle-floor apartment, cut through the window, and climbed outside the building. Using suction cups, he slowly climbed beneath the rooftop pool. He drilled a tiny hole into the glass, inserted the special gel, and injected the chemical solution. At that moment, the tycoon swam directly above him and noticed Arthur below. Suddenly, the glass cracked violently. Arthur quickly removed the suction cups and slid back inside the building. The hole in the pool expanded rapidly, creating a powerful suction force. The tycoon had no time to escape. He was pulled into the collapse and fell from the skyscraper to his death. Arthur escaped safely. The second mission was successfully completed. The man known in the underworld as the mechanic never lets his guard down. Every time he leaves home, he activates the security system on his yacht to prevent surprise attacks. Arthur often visits famous tourist spots in Brazil. One day, while sitting down for a meal, a sexy, beautiful woman suddenly sat across from him. To his surprise, she immediately asked him to kill 3 people. Her boss demanded that every assassination look like an accident, which just happened to be Arthur's specialty. She even threatened him, if he refused, she would reveal his address to his enemies and end his peaceful retirement for good. The woman thought she had Arthur completely under control. But Arthur calmly pulled out his phone and took a photo of her. The woman panicked and reached for her gun, but Arthur slammed her down against the table. After knocking her unconscious, Arthur turned around and engaged the attackers rushing toward him. Although he was outnumbered, Arthur used everything around him as weapons. In no time, the seafood buffet turned into a battlefield. After taking down the enemies, Arthur saw on the security cameras that even more attackers were heading upstairs. He decided not to waste time and jumped off the platform to escape. The woman led her men in pursuit. To get down the mountain, everyone had to take a cable car. The assassins rushed into the cabin, but Arthur wasn't inside. Suddenly, the woman heard movement above. Arthur was clinging to the roof of the cable car. She opened fire wildly at the roof. One of her men kicked open the cabin door and tried to climb up, but Arthur was even crazier. He leaped from the moving cable car in midair and landed perfectly on a passing hang glider, flying away right in front of their eyes. It was unbelievably bold. Arthur rushed back home only to find several strangers sneaking around his yacht, clearly trying to break in. He immediately realized they were working for the same people. Without hesitation, Arthur pressed a button on his phone. The yacht's defense system activated. His $700,000 luxury yacht went up in flames. Arthur went to the Harbor Warehouse District, where one warehouse served as his secret base. He burned his old fake passport, grabbed a new one along with cash, and disappeared once again. After traveling for several days, Arthur arrived on the beautiful Thai island of Koh Tao. There, he reunited with his old friend, Aunt May. Years earlier, Arthur had stayed here, and Aunt May had kept his wooden cabin untouched. As a veteran top-tier assassin, Arthur had secret safe houses all over the world, places where he could vanish whenever necessary. After Aunt May left, Arthur pulled out a sealed box hidden beneath the floorboards. Inside were his computer and equipment. He uploaded the woman's photo that he had taken earlier and searched through the dark web. Eventually, he found her identity, but when he saw the photo of her boss, Arthur felt a headache coming on. It was someone he had known for a long time. He realized he would have to stay hidden for quite a while. However, no matter where Arthur hid, trouble always found him. In the following days, Arthur noticed a beautiful stranger arriving on the island. She went to Aunt May to ask for medicine to treat her injuries. Seeing the wounds on the woman's body, Aunt May felt sympathy for her. That night, loud arguing between a man and a woman came from a nearby yacht. Aunt May rushed to Arthur and begged him to help save the girl. Arthur didn't want to get involved, but eventually gave in. He took a small boat and headed to the yacht. Sure enough, the young woman was being assaulted by a large man. When the man saw Arthur board the yacht, he didn't stop. He became even more violent. The attacker picked up a spear gun and tried to challenge Arthur, but within seconds, Arthur knocked him down. The man's head hit a metal object, and he died instantly. The woman also lost consciousness. Arthur handed her over to Aunt May and went back to clean up the scene. Inside the cabin, he searched and found the woman's passport and phone. When he turned on the phone, Arthur saw his own photo on the screen. That's when he realized this encounter wasn't random at all. She had been sent for him. Arthur drove the yacht into deeper waters and burned it. Furious, he returned home and confronted the woman, whose name was Gina. He showed her his passport and demanded to know why his photo was on her phone. At first, Gina tried to resist, but she quickly realized she stood no chance against Arthur and confessed everything. She revealed that a man named Clay had threatened her and forced her to approach Arthur. Once she gained Arthur's trust, Clay planned to stage her kidnapping and use her as leverage to force Arthur to work for him. Since hiding was no longer an option, Arthur decided to wait and see what Clay would do next. After researching Gina's background, Arthur discovered she wasn't ordinary either. She used to be special forces. After retiring, she opened a school in Myanmar to help orphan children. Clay had kidnapped those children and used them to blackmail Gina into cooperating. Only then did Arthur realize she was also a victim. He slowly lowered his guard toward her. One day, Arthur noticed a strange boat near the shore. The people on board were clearly monitoring the island. He knew Clay had sent more men. Arthur deliberately held Gina's hand in public, making the enemy believe she was successfully gaining his trust. They attended a party hosted by Aunt May. With Aunt May's encouragement, the two grew closer and slowly developed feelings for each other. Arthur knew this was exactly the honey trap Clay had set, but he still couldn't resist Gina's sweet smile and gentle presence. Even the coldest and toughest man can't escape the power of love. Completely drawn in, Arthur finally told Gina why Clay was so obsessed with hunting him down. Arthur revealed that he was an orphan, sold to a London crime syndicate as a child. Clay had grown up in the same gang. Later, Arthur managed to escape, but Clay failed. The gang took their anger out on Clay, and from that day on, he blamed Arthur for everything and swore revenge. Just as the two were opening their hearts to each other, several speedboats filled with assassins appeared on the water. Clay had finally made his move. Arthur told Gina that he would find a way to save her. The movie ended here. Thanks for your watching. Leave your comments below and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave a like to help the channel out.